Hey guys, this is Jeff on the Entrefied podcast. If you're new to our podcast, Entrefied means entering into your success. And what we do is we interview guests on our show. We may have business professionals, book authors. We have a lot of different people that's on the show, but we also have personal podcasts as well where we're talking about tips and tricks, habits, mindsets, and things like that. We even may have business opportunities, just anything that we think that will add value to our listeners that is good we'll probably have it on the show. So, with that said, what I want to talk about with you today is, I think, some great information. If you're watching the video here, it's just quite long. You'll see the notes that I have on the screen, but I'll try to go through this really quick. But what I want to talk to you, the first point I want to talk to you about is organizing your day. You know, I've talked about this before, but this is a little bit different slant on that. So organizing your day on what will be done even before the day gets here. You know, a lot of times I'll talk about how you can, make a list the day of. I've spent some time talking about making a list in the day. Some people use their calendars. What about getting so good at this that you can actually schedule days out? So, some people use their calendar to be able to do that. And so they're like, okay, Monday I'm going to be doing this, Tuesday I'm going to be doing that. I would like for you to explore that idea to see if it will add any value to your life. I personally have started doing a little bit more of that. I actually do make a list. A lot of people don't like lists, but I'm starting to add things to my calendar where I know that I know, this is what my primary focus is for the day. If you have meetings and conferences and things like that, and I do, so those type of things that come up, you need to have them on your calendar anyway. But sometimes just making a note, I also call this my calendar too, which may sound silly to some of you out there. On my to-do list, I'll say my main objective this day on this date is this. If I don't write it in my calendar or through my Outlook or something like that, I can at least make a main objective on the to-do list that I have. So I know what I'm mainly focusing on. But this is really not the point of this podcast. That's just the first point. So what this podcast is about is rapid fire points. I call it rapid fire points 8/26/20, which is the date. So that's one of the things I wanted to start out with. I just wanted you to think about that point of organizing your day a little bit different to see if it help you out. The next point, one of the first things to learn is realizing you don't know everything. That's very important. Some of us out there, I think that we've got it all figured out. And those are the people that generally have cut off the root system because they don't have anything left to learn. You always have something left to learn if you're still learning. That sounds weird, doesn't it? But it's true. We're never get to the point where we've arrived. We may be headed in a direction. You may be further out down the road than when you started, but you're still learning. And that's a very important point for whatever area that you're in. And why would I bring that up now? The reason I bring that up now is, are you researching in the area that you're in? And if the answer is no, then you may be one of these people that think, oh, I've got it all figured out. Now, you may not consciously say that, but your actions of not continually researching your area says different. When you say, hey, I've done this, I know what I'm doing, basically what you're saying is I don't need any more input. So that's what I wanted to caution you about, because it's also something that I have to think about too. I think about, okay, well, I know this particular area. I don't have to research that anymore. But that's one of the things I wanted to talk about was that main point of starting to know, hey, you know what? I don't got all this figured out. You could be running a business like, oh, I've got my business. I know what I'm doing. Have you ever done any research on people that's doing the same thing as you? How are they doing it different? And maybe it's something else for you. Maybe it's a topic. Maybe it's like, for instance, you're studying something in college. Get a different outlook. Look for things that's going to, benefit you and add value to that area of your life. Not just one source, but start looking around for different things. It could be anything for you, but just don't think that you've got everything figured out. That's the first thing. That's one of the first things that causes you trouble when we think we've got it all figured out. As long as you think this, you can't learn anything more. The very fact that you admit to yourself that you don't know means you have something that you can research and you're open to it. So be open to learning more. So I'm going to go through a lot of these points, guys. They're real fast. So now find someone or something to help you get more information that will help you win. So the first thing, like I said, is realizing you don't know everything. Now, second step is find someone who or something that you can get in contact with that, like for instance, a book, a video, you know, it could be a person that you're modeling, but find something that will add value to you in that area and it will help you win. Something to consider. What is smart people doing that gets results? You know, if you're in business, you may want to stay in the same business that you're in, or you may want to see what the competitors are doing, or you may just want to enter into a different market. What are the smart people doing that's getting results? What is those people that are, you know, getting just crazy results? What are they doing? What are they into? What's hot right now? Why is it hot? You know, and that's something that you can think about as well. Thinking about, okay, what is everybody doing? Because if everybody's doing it, there's probably a reason for it. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you just want to get a copy of the wheel and find a better way to make it better in your area. So in other words, if you're going to get let's say an ice cream truck, you know, then you can start looking at an ice cream truck and thinking, okay, how can I paint my truck and how can I get this in the situation that I'm making money and that it's, you know, it's prosperous for me. You wouldn't want to go out here and say, okay, I don't like the way ice cream trucks run. I think I'm just going to go a whole different design. What about an ice cream car? You know, not a truck, but a car. Well, I mean, hey, it could work, right? But what I'm trying to say is when it's already established, why are you keep looking for something to reinvent, to be creative? Find something that's already established. If you're looking for a business, find something that works. Yeah, maybe you can put your slant on it, but don't try to reinvent everything when you're first starting out. Sometimes you need to get behind people that's already made it, that's already been there, done that. Maybe you can improve on some things that they're doing, but don't try to reinvent everything. It's too big of a task right now. Now, if you're a veteran, you've been in this a long time, maybe you've got some, you know, insights to just create something completely new. But when you're first getting started, look for those great ideas and those things that work. Look, they're established. People get customers. Their sales already established. And sometimes they call these franchises, you know, and I'm not against a franchise necessarily, but what I am saying is the reason they charge what they charge is because there's a system in place. There's already something that's working. And you may not want to buy a franchise. I'm not saying you should. But what I am saying is when you start to look at those things that work, find out what other people are doing. Find out what you could do a little bit different. Don't reinvent the whole thing. Just find something that works and try to put a different slant on it. So I hope that helps, guys. But do you want to do push-ups? That's my next question for you. This sounds a little bit strange with talking about mindsets and habits and things like that. What, you know, do you really want to do push-ups? Probably not. Most people do the push-ups probably to get the result, right? So that's the reason people do things, is to get results. But often we talk about what we have to do. But really what we're really saying is this is the results that we want in a lot of cases. Now, if you work a job, you may have to do things to get that paycheck, right? Well, it's the same thing with the things that's in your life. The results is what we want. So here's something you can try. Write down the results in the areas that you want, and then write down what you think it will take to get that result. Every morning, read the result. Don't read what you're going to have to do. Read the result of what it is that you've done or will do to get that. For instance, if I want to have six-pack abs, which I don't have six-pack abs right now, if I wanted that, I would put down, I want six-pack abs. That's the result. So now how would I get that? Now that would be a brief description. Number one, you got to eat right. Most people will tell you that, you know, eating is probably 80% of it, right? And then you have to figure out, research, do your research, find out what it is that gets you those results. You put a brief description of that. But what I'm asking you to do and asking you to try is find those different areas that you want results. Like for instance, the six-pack abs. Maybe you want money in the bank. Maybe you want $5,000 or $10,000 or more in the bank in reserves. How do you do that? So you start writing down the results of what you want and then a brief description on how to get it. Read that every morning. It'll keep you in tune with where you want to head. Not necessarily how to get it there all the way, just a brief description. It helps it. Hey, every day you're looking at that. You're thinking about that. You're aligning yourself. You're putting your positive mindset toward, hey, this is like a goal-seeking thing where you're going after this thing because you've programmed yourself every morning to think about it. You programmed yourself to look at it and think, hey, I've got this. I can do this. These are some of the things that I can do. Guys, I hope you're getting something from this. I think that's an exercise that you should try. Try it in the morning. Just do it every morning. You write down what the result you want in every area of your life, personally, professionally, and just write it down and then read the result every morning and also how a brief description on how to get it. Here's another exercise that you can do. Wake up early. Get a notepad. Take 10 deep breaths. Then think back to a time that you did well. Also taking deep breaths and just kind of relaxing, getting your day started. You don't have to count them this time. Just sit there and breathe and relax and think about a time that you was doing really great. Now, you may be doing different things, but what I'm trying to say is, for instance, in, let's say, study, or, you run a marathon, or, just something that's productive in your life where you done awesome. You thought, hey, I did well that day. This is a moment in time that I pursued greatness and I was doing good. Think back to that. Take those deep breaths. Now, write down the random thoughts if you want. If you have things that come into your mind, that's where the notepad comes in. Write down those things. Or you can just sit there and breathe and have 5 or 10 minutes of relaxing deep breaths. So many times in a day, we're just running all the time. And we do forget to breathe if we're like 90 or 95% of the people that's out there. We've got a lot of things going on in a day. But if you've got those random thoughts during this time, write them down. This takes like 5 or 10 minutes, guys, and it's a good way to get started. It puts you in a positive mindset because you're thinking back to a time that you did well. You can write those things down. Like I said, make sure you're taking the deep breaths, though, because I think that's very important for you just getting yourself in a good state to face the day. Write down some stuff to do after all of this. If you want, that's up to you. So let me recap this one. This one's a little bit different. When we wake it up in the morning, getting a notepad. Now, we're talking about waking up early here, okay? Get a notepad. Wake up 10, 15, 20 minutes early, something like that. Get the notepad. Take 10 deep breaths. Then think back to a time that you was doing well. All right, you do that for just a moment or two, a minute or two, while taking deep breaths, relaxing. Now think back or think about the random thoughts that you could have or may be having. Just let your mind wander is what I'm trying to say, guys. Just chill out and breathe for a little while. Start your day in a relaxed state, not in a stressful, oh, I've got to get this done. And just in a mad rush the rest of your life. Take a little bit of time just to relax. And then after that, you can, like I said, you can continue to breathe all the way through it if you don't have nothing to write down, you're not thinking anything. Or after all this is done, write down some stuff you want to get started today. 2 or 3 action items right off the top. These are the main things I want to do today. I think that's a good morning routine that you can get started. I want to move on. I got a lot of stuff. I'm probably not going to get through all of it today. I'm trying to hurry through it, guys. Make your life noteworthy. So many people, they focus on so many things, but the truth is you got to spend time doing the things that you love. That's important because you're only going to get one life. That's all you're going to get. So make your life noteworthy. Don't do it for me, but for you. What will get you going in the day? Having fun, passion, drive, energy towards something. What would make you excited about every day of your life? How can you structure your days where you're going to get exciting? And at the end of your life, you don't look back and say, hey, I think I want to take back, because there's no take backs. Structure your days where you can look back at your life and say, listen, that's what I wanted. That's what I did. That's what I wanted to do. I thought about this thing. I pre-planned this thing, and that's the next thing I'm getting to here, guys. is pre-planning what you want out of your life. That sounds strange to some people. People say, I don't want to plan for nothing. But if you want things that are structured and that you know that you want out of life, sometimes it makes better sense just to sit down and say, listen, I want to make sure I've got a house that's paid for. I want to make sure that I've got a retirement. I want to make sure my kids are taken care of, that college maybe is taken care of if that's a goal of yours, or that they're taken care of financially when you're gone. You know, these are all things that you can try to lay out. And there's a lot more than that, guys, as you already know. But what do you want? How do you pre-plan that out where you have that laid out? Guys, I know I'm going way deep in here, but that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Make your life on a daily basis noteworthy. And what would that be? And that's some of the time in the morning that you can sit down, write down, and say, listen, that's some of my random thoughts. Here's what I really want out of life. I want to make sure this, that, and the other. I want to make sure I'm living the life of my dreams, not living the life of my nightmares. You know, make sure you're living the way you want, because you're only going to get to live it once. Hope this is getting through. We need to get to the process. We need to get the process in place to start living our daily lives like we're serious about achieving what we want. You know, we say we want a lot of things, but if you're not planning, you know, I've heard it say you're planning to fail. I know that sounds harsh. That sounds hard. But are you really planning? What are you really planning for? You say, well, you can't plan everything. No, you can't plan everything. But what have you planned lately? What have you planned today? We have to identify what we want. That's the first step. We have to organize our lives to accomplish what is needed to obtain those goals daily. Not just every once in a while, but daily. Put yourself in the area of you're going to achieve things. You're going to get good results. How do you do that? Like I said, you identify what you want, and then you figure out those things on a daily basis that you can do that's going to bring you closer to your goal, not further away. All right, the next thing is we need to make sure we have laid everything out right, and we've double-checked it, what we're doing, making sure we're working out of excellence, not ignorance. You may only get one shot at this thing. You need to make sure you're doing it right the first time. Here's the next part. Making sure you know how to do what you think you know. Research what is necessary. You cannot think, you have to know. Find the truth, guys. We all think sometimes that we're experts at things. You know, I've heard people say that, you know, men don't like to read the instructions. We think we know what's going on, right? But in your life, read the instructions. You know, and I tell you what, this is a Christian-based podcast. And one of the main truths of this is the Bible. You know, it's in the book. Read the book. Just read the book. Do the right thing. Read the book. And then apply the book. But find the truth in your life as well. Find that truth in the area that you're looking for. Don't just assume you know. Do the research. Find out somebody that's done there, that's been there, that's done that. Find you somebody to model and start watching those people. You know, if you find people that are good at a certain area, start watching those people. Try to figure out what makes them tick, because success is repeatable. You just have to find out what works. It might not work exactly the way you in your particular area for what you want, but in what they've achieved most of the time, there's something, whether you can see it or not, that has brought those results into their life. Here's the next thing. Research what you need to do and model others that are doing it right, as I mentioned. Now, I'm talking about for your specific area, you know, the thing that you're wanting to accomplish. Find the person that's accomplished that particular thing. Now, the second point is a little bit different. This is watch people. This is not just people that have accomplished what you want. This is people in general. You know, everyone's our teacher. Spend some time thinking about what everyone around you does well and what they don't. Learn and apply. This may sound very simple, but if you just do this one fact and you'll do this intently, it's something you'll dedicate time consistently to doing, you'll start looking at everybody as your teacher, and you start looking at the things that they're doing right and the things that they're doing wrong. And you start applying what works, and you start looking at those lessons that you don't have to repeat because you've seen other people do them. And you start applying the things that they should be doing that they're not doing in their life. You know, it's said that a lot of times trial and error gives good results. But sometimes we don't want to have to go through some of those trials. So some of the best times and the best things that you can do in your life is look at these mistakes that other people has made and the things that they've done well and copy the good things and correct the bad things. Guys, I hope you've got something from this today. We'll see you next time. One more thing before I go. Go to Entrefied.com. It's www.entrefied.com. Find out how to get our podcast notes. We have a lot of podcast notes that's jammed-packed with great information right there on the page that you can read. Go to Entrefied.com. See how to get our podcast notes. Again, it's www.entrefied.com. Remember, Entrefied means entering into your success. Guys, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.